to make it as quiet as possible. For those who are joining the class, please, just like we teach you all the time, please make sure that there is no gaps, that you are as close as possible from me. We are about to start Kitab At-Tauhid Imam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, and we are on chapter 58, and after that we'll discuss Al-Adab Al-Mufrad. So we'll start with the person who recites. Go ahead.
Chapter number 58. Prohibition of cursing the wind. It is narrated from Ubayd bin Ka'b radiallahu anhu that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Do not curse the wind. If you see that which is displeasing to you, then say, O Allah, we ask you of the good of this wind and the good of what is in it, and the good that it is commanded to bring along with it. And we seek your protection from the harm of this wind and the evil of what is in it, and the evil that is commanded to bring along with it."
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Indeed, all praise is due to Allah. We praise Him, seek His aid and ask His forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from the evils of ourselves and from the evils of our actions. Whomsoever Allah guides, none can misguide. And whomsoever Allah misguides, none can guide. I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship except for Allah alone, having no partner. And I bear witness that Muhammad is a slave and His messenger. To proceed, very the best of talks, beyond any doubt, is the Book of Allah, the Quran, and the best of guidance is the guidance of His messenger Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him. And very the most evil of all matters are the ones innovated, for every newly innovated matter in Islam is an innovation, and every innovation in Islam is a misguidance, and every misguidance will lead to the hellfire. The author Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, he says in his book Kitab At-Tauhid, Babu an-Nahyu an Sabbirih, that is the prohibition of insulting and cursing the wind. And here the prohibition from the author, may Allah have mercy upon him, we don't know whether he meant it is a prohibition that is haram or it's a prohibition of a dislike. And we know that the wind, it has a point of origination, whether it is from the south, from the east, from the west, or from the north. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He commands this wind to do what He wills it to do. So some of this wind will be gusting and bringing hurricanes. Some of that wind will be light. Some of that wind will be uprooting the trees. Some of that wind, it will not do that much. Some of that wind will bring rain. Some of that wind will not bring rain. Some of that wind will be cold. Some of that wind will be hot. So if the person insults the wind and curses the wind, is he cursing actually the wind itself? Or is he cursing the one who is commanding that wind to do whatever it has done? And we know, for example, if a person had seen a palace and he had cursed that palace, that means he's cursing the one who had built it. So the same thing, the person, when he curses the wind, then he's cursing the one who is commanding it to do whatever it has done. And that is why the prohibition here in this chapter means that it is haram. And the hadith which supports such a principle is hadith Ubayd bin Ka'b radiallahu anhu, that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "La tasubbu rih." Don't insult the rih. The rih, the wind. And here, la tasubbu, don't curse, don't insult, because it's not from the manners of the Muslim to curse. He's not a cursor. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, لَيْسَ الْمُؤْمِنُ بِالطَّعَانِ وَلَا بِاللَّعَانِ وَلَا بِالْفَاحِشِ وَلَا بِالْبَذِيءِ. The mu'min, the believer, is not to be a cursor. He is not to be a person who would utter obscenity. It's always the mu'min, what comes out of his mouth is to be honey. As for the hadith which says, Allahumma ja'alha rihan or riyahan wa la taj'alha riha, oh Allah makes it to be riyah and not to make it rih, this hadith is batil. It is a hadith which is a false hadith, because the wind is only one. They have an athar from Abdullah ibn Abbas saying that the rih which is mentioned in the Quran, if you can really put that down, you know, it's too loud. The rih in the Quran that Abdullah ibn Abbas had said is for the punishment, and al-riyah is for mercy. It's back, isn't it? Or maybe it's from yours. Al-riyah is for mercy. It's back feed, there is back feed. Maybe it's the one behind? Yeah. Too many microphones are on. And al-riyah, yeah, I think the one back. And al-riyah is for the rahmah. And this hadith, or this athar, is to be unauthentic. And he mentions regarding the verse, وَأَرْسَلْنَا الرِّيَاحَ لَوَاقِحَ وَهُوَ الَّذِي أَرْسَلَ الرِّيَاحَ بُشْرًا بَيْنَ يَدَيْ رَحْمَتِهِ. So he says the riyah means to be rahmah. And as for rih, Allah says al-rihul aqim, rihan sarsara. We say that this athar, first of all, unauthentic. Number two, in terms of unauthenticity in its chain, you could check that with Shaykh Al-Albaanee's book, Al-Da'ifa 5600. As regarding the wordings of the hadith, we say that first of all, that Athar ibn Abbas, which is the authentic one, is that when one time wind had gusted, and some of the people who were present started insulting it. So Ibn Abbas, he said, "La tasubbuha," don't insult it, don't curse it. Verily it comes with mercy, and also it comes with punishment. So he did not say rih is for punishment and riyah is for mercy, but actually he said the rih, the wind, whether it's rih or riyah, it comes with mercy and also it comes with punishment. But you should say, Allahumma ja'alha rahma, oh Allah makes this wind to be mercy, wala taj'alha adaba. Brother, collecting money of the class is not really right. Can we do that, inshallah, after the class? Jazakallah khair. And fill up the gaps, brothers. The ones who are there, fill up the gaps, please. Fill up the gaps. Fill up the gaps, brothers. Fill up the gaps. I will not start the talk until the gaps are filled. It's very important for me. I want to kick the shaitan out. No place for him here in my class. Right. So the athar from Abdullah ibn Abbas contradicts that the rih and the riyah. Also we have a verse in the Quran which is in Surah Yunus verse 22, whereas Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, هو الذي يسيركم في البر حتى إذا كنتم في الفلك وجرين بهم بريح طيبة وفرحوا بها جاءتها ريح عاصف. So Allah says ريح طيبة and rihun asif, rih which is good and rih which is gusting. So he did not say rih and riyah. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. So la tasubbu rih, don't curse. The curse is not the characteristics from the believers. Also the Prophet ﷺ, he said, La tasubbu rih fa innaha min rawhillah. It is from the spirits, from the commands of Allah. Ta'ti bil rahmati wal adab. It brings mercy and also brings punishment. Walakin salullaha min khayriha wa ta'awwadu billahi min sharriha. But rather ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the good of that wind and seek refuge from the evil of that wind. So there is a prohibition, which we call it general prohibition, to insult something which has no power of commanding itself by itself. Anything. لا تسبوا الدهر, لا تسبوا الريح. The Prophet ﷺ said, لا تسبوا الديك, لا تسبوا. So he's supposed to be not really insulting something that's got no power. So that for example, we know that for a fact the wind has got no power of itself to make itself gusting or make itself light. It comes from whom? From Allah. So when you are insulting something that's got no power, that has no will inside it, that means you're insulting whom? The one who is commanding it. So don't insult the dahr, don't insult the deek, which is we call the rooster. Don't insult the rooster. So anything that has, that has no will inside him. It's not like us. Us, we do have the understanding that this is haqq and this is batil. So if a person did batil and he's being reminded, no problem to insult him and curse him. But if you insult something that has no power to control himself, then you should not do that. So the wind has no choice. The rooster has no choice. The dahr, which is the time, has no choice. You're not allowed to insult. So insultation and cursing is not from the characteristics of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "La tasubbu waraqa." Don't curse waraqa. Waraqa ibn Nawfal. I said he saw him in 2 garments in paradise. La tasubbu tubba'a. Tubba'. A man who was at the time being claimed that he was a kafir, but he was, don't insult him. La tasubbu ashabi. Don't curse my companions. La tasubbu al-amwat. Don't curse those who are dead. Even he said, Prophet ﷺ, don't insult the shaitan, but curse him with the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One day, a companion of the Prophet ﷺ, he stumbled and he said, Ta'isa shaitan. Disgrace to the shaitan. He said the shaitan became like an elephant because he's saying that I'm worthwhile. I have raged him, So he became an elephant. But say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, and he will become like an ant. So seek refuge in Allah from the shaitan. Don't insult him an insultation that will make him, I teased him. Right. The hadith says, فَإِذَا رَأَيْتُم مَا تَكْرَهُونَ. If you see something you don't like, فَقُولُوا إِنَّا اللَّهُمَّ إِنَّا نَسْأَلُكَ مِنْ خَيْرِ هَذِي الرِّيحِ وَخَيْرِ مَا فِيهَا. Oh Allah, we ask you from the good of this wind and وَخَيْرِ مَا أُمِرَتْ بِهِ, and also what is the command that is to go along with this wind. For example, rain, crops, nice wind. وَنَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنْ شَرِّ هَذِهِ الرِّيحِ. And we seek refuge in Allah, in you, Allah, from the evil of this wind. وَشَرِّ مَا فِيهَا, and whatever evil in it. And also وَشَرِّ مَا أُمِرَتْ بِهِ, and from the evil of what is being commanded to go along with it, from the destruction, from the uprooting of the agriculture. And that is why we find that from the authority of Abdullah ibn Abbas, that a man had wind and it took his cloak away. So what he did, he cursed that wind in the presence of the Prophet ﷺ. So he said to him, don't curse the wind, for verily it is being commanded. And in he who does curse something which has no deservation, he does not deserve to be cursed, this curse will bounce back onto him. So again, Abdullah ibn Abbas narrates a hadith. There was a man, the presence of the Prophet ﷺ, a wind came and it dragged his cloak, or took his cloak away from his body. So he started insulting the wind. So the Prophet ﷺ said, don't insult the wind, for verily it is being commanded. That means by Allah. So he's insulting the commander. And he who does curse anything that it does not deserve to be cursed, because it has no power of controlling itself, then this curse will bounce back onto him. So be careful of cursing something that should not be cursed. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Now we go into the issues.
Number 1, cursing the wind is prohibited.
It is haram. Prohibited here for haram. Now.
Number 2, guidance to beneficial words when someone sees that which he dislikes.
So if you see something which you dislike, what is the best word to say here? Allahumma inni as'aluka min khayriha wa khayri ma umirat bih wa khayri ma fiha wa a'udhu bika min sharriha wa sharri ma fiha wa sharri ma umirat bih. So you seek refuge in Allah from the evil of it, and the evil what is in it, and the evil of what is being commanded to carry along with it. Now,
number 3, the wind is commanded by Allah's order.
So you are actually insulting the commander, not the wind. Now, number 4.
Number 4, the wind may be ordered with good as well as harm.
So this wind brings good, mercy, and brings also evil and destruction. Now, right, so those are the issues. So here we say, as in conclusion, the person should not object on the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You should not object on the qada of Allah azza wa jal. Should not insult, because this is a qada and qadr. Allah commanded that wind to gust, whether it's light or hurricane or whatever. So you have to be submitting and surrendering to the universal laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just like you are surrendering to his sharia or shari'i command, because all these creatures that we're talking about has no power in itself to do something except with the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We stop here and we go straight away to our book Al-Adab Al-Mufrad, and then we'll leave the time for the question and answers. Now, Hadith 156, and Hadith 156 comes under the chapter Bab Husnul Malaka. Sorry? What do you mean? Chapter 83 mean? Yeah. Chapter, he says, hang on a second. 80. Yeah, I'm just, you know. Chapter 82. Husn al-Malaka. Naam. And 105th, I said 105. 560 to be unauthentic, so we go 157.
Chapter 82. On being a good master. Hadith 157. Abdullah said, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
And Abdullah here, it means what? Anybody like to tell me? Huh? Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Very good. When you say Abdullah, it means Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. It's not Abdullah ibn Umar. So if it's Abdullah ibn Umar, what do they say? What do they write? Come on, students. What do they say? What do they say? Do they say Abdullah said, narrated? Ibn Umar. Very good. Say Ibn Umar. Even both of them should be Abdullah. So Ibn Umar, that means Abdullah ibn Umar. Abdullah in itself means Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Naam. Prophet said, yeah.
The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, accept invitations. Do not reject gifts. Do not beat the Muslims.
Right. Accept invitation. Do not return gifts. That means do not return them, you don't accept them. And do not beat the Muslims. And the last paragraph, do not beat the Muslims, that is the one that is being said because of this chapter. Bab Husnul Malaka. What is Husnul Malaka? There is a translation. That is good.
On being a good master.
Good master. Good possession of a master, possession of slaves. Ajibu da'i. Respond to the one who invites you. Now, this invitation, whether it is invitation for wedding, which is compulsory to come to it, if you may be invited, and you cannot turn it away or turn it back unless you have a legitimate excuse. Legitimate excuse, that means you are outside the country, or the party has haram in it, then the person may not go to it. But if it is have no haram, then the person, he must fulfill the invitation. That is, if it's another invitation, normal invitation, come to have dinner in my house, our Shaykh Al-Albaanee as well have tendency that it is compulsory, which is true because the hadith here says ajibu da'i, respond to the invitation, whether it is invitation for a walima, for the wedding, or it's invitation for the normal one. But we say the invitation of the walima is more emphasized. But both of them are to be compulsory for the person to come. The reason behind this is that if the person does not fulfill it, he finds sometimes that there's a breaking in the brotherhood. The person, he might as well break his relationship with his other person because he did not come to his invitation. He would say maybe why he doesn't like my food? What's wrong with me? Something wrong with my family? And all sorts of things come to his mind, and shaitan, he would play around, and that is why you respond to the caller. As for the second one, وَلَا تَرُدُّ الْهَدِيَّةِ, don't return, that means you should not reject, accepting the gift. So you cannot reject the gift unless there is a benefit, maslaha. And that is if, for example, a person being given a gift as a bribe. So you're a judge and there's a case, so the person is going to have the case with you, he gives you a gift. That gift is not allowed to be accepted, because once you give a gift to the judge, that means that judge is going to rule somehow in his favor. So unless that person, he gives gifts all the time to that person because he knows him, so the gift is all the time is being swapped between the two. But if it's just for the very first time, alhamdulillah, then I would say this gift is to be a bribe, it's not allowed. Also, we're going to be coming to the hadiths later on about the gifts, where the Prophet ﷺ said, tahadu, give gifts to one another, you love one another. But also the Prophet ﷺ, he ascended the pulpit one day and he said, and he was enraged because he said, a man from Bani Fazara tried. He had given me a gift, so I had given him a substitute for that gift, a return. And that man didn't like it. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, by Allah, I will not accept a gift except from a Qurashi or Ansari or Thaqafi or Dawsi. And he mentioned those tribes in particular because those tribes, when they give a gift, they don't expect to return. Some people say, give you a gift and he waits for you. What are you going to give me in return? And he wants even better. So If it is the case, if you find this person is giving you a gift in order to show off and remind you of his favors, which can humiliate you in front of the people, don't accept the gift. If that gift as well, he wants a return which is better than this, he's giving you, for example, a book and expecting a mobile or a laptop, then maybe you don't accept the gift because it's going to be putting you in trouble. You don't have any money to do that. If that gift as well is haram in itself, giving you, for example, a bottle of alcohol, haram to accept that gift. But in general, you should accept the gift if it hasn't got these issues. قال ولا تضربوا المسلمين, then don't hit the believers, don't beat the Muslims. And here the Muslims, regardless of what type of Muslim, and he meant it here with the slaves, but even the normal Muslim, you should not be having an enmity towards Muslim or any person. Transgression is not allowed. You cannot just transgress against a person even if he's a non-Muslim. Can't just go on outside, you're a kafir, slap him. Can't do that. It's not allowed. So the Muslim should not be doing this. And the pardoning is all the time should be your goal. So hitting the Muslim is haram, hitting the non-Muslim is haram if there is no reason for that. And remember the Prophet ﷺ, as described by Anas radiallahu anhu arda, he never, and even Aisha, he never, the Prophet ﷺ, hit anything with his hand. A woman, that means one of his wives, never hit them. Or a person who is a slave or a person who is a servant, never hit them, except if he is making jihad in the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if he's been insulted in person, he would never take vendetta, he will not take revenge. But if there is anything from the violables of Allah being violated, then he will take revenge for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This hadith from, as I said, Aisha, and also as Anas described the characteristics of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hadith 158.
Hadith 158. Ali, Allah's blessings be upon him, said, the last words of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said were, the prayer, fear Allah in regards to what your right hands own, i.e. regards to your slaves.
The prayer, this is from the last words of the Prophet ﷺ, indicating the most important thing that the person would utter before his death, something that he would counsel his ummah to do. So he said, as-salat, as-salat, the prayer, and that is, ittaqullah, fear Allah, for those whom your right hand possesses. Right hand possesses, they said, either that is the sadaqah that the person does and give, so it is actually it means the zakah and giving the zakah, and this is what the right hand possesses from the money. But this is a weak interpretation. The strong interpretation, what the right hand possesses is the slaves. Why did he mention the right, not the left? Well, it seems like because the right is honorable, and when we say the right, because we want to give honor for those slaves, so they are possessed by the honorable hand, and that is why the right. Some of the scholars, they said, because we always attribute things to the right hand, because the right hand most of the time is to be stronger. Yes, there's somebody who's left-handed, but in the right hand you're supposed to be, if you're left-handed, to eat with it and do all the good things with it, where the left is to be left for something which is dishonorable, like wiping your, making a stinja, things like this. And that is why when you are making the wudu, it is recommended that when you put the water in your nostrils, you put it with the right and you take it out with your left. So here, take care of, and that means you have to be generous, kind towards those who are your slaves or your servants. Now the opposite from that, hadith 159, which is under the chapter Su'ul Malaka. Go ahead.
Chapter 83, on being a bad owner. Hadith Ma'athar 42. Al-Adab used to say to people, we know you better than the veterinarians know animals. We recognize the best of you from the worst of you.
Again, please start from the beginning. Abu Darda, he used to say to the people,
Abu Darda used to say to the people, we know you better than the vet.
The what? The vet?
The vet.
Yeah, the vet. The animal, the doctor.
We know you better than the vets, no animals. We recognize the best of you from the worst of you. The best of you is the one whose good is hopeful, and the one whose evil you do not fear. As for the worst of you, that is the person whose good is not hoped for and whose evil you fear, and who does not set slaves free.
Right. So here, the opposite from that this is the person who is a bad master. Okay. So here, Abu Darda says, we are knowing you inside out better than the vet knowing the animal. The animal, when he looks by the vet, when he's examining the animal, he would know him inside out. So it shows that the person should be a person who's knowledgeable in terms of he's got an insight. Meaning, if he looks at the person, he would know from the way he is, from the way he talks, from the way he deals, whether he's good, whether he's bad. He should be knowing like that. Not really being a person who's easily can be conned, gullible, easy can be tricked. Shouldn't be like this. Should be a person, should be smart. مؤمن لا يلدغ من جحر مرة. That is, the believer should not be stung from the same hole twice. So you should know the people. As soon as you look at the person, as soon as he, the way he sits, the way he talks, the way he responds, you will know him inside out. So Abu Darda, being a companion, radiallahu anhu, he said, we know you. And he's talking about the followers, the era of the tabi'un. We know you, just like even better than the vet knows the animals. We have known the good of you and the bad amongst you. As for the good of you, the ones you hope for is good, and also you are safe against his evil. As for the evil amongst you are the ones whom you hope, you don't have no hope for the good in them. You have no hope. And also you cannot be safe regarding their evil that comes out of them. And also he does not set his slave who's already been set free, does not set him free. So لا يعتق محرر. Muharrar is the one who has been set free from the slave, but yet even he set him free, he's still a slave. You're supposed to be a free man, not a slave. So in this hadith, or this athar, we find that it is essential for the person to have an insight and should know the people and should know who is the good and who is the evil. And we should always be people who are keys for the good and keys as well for locking the evil away from us. Hadith 160.
Athar 43.
Athar 43. So okay, this is 160. It is da'if. So write down, please. 160 is to be da'if, unauthentic. Also 161 is to be unauthentic. So we're coming now to 162, and the chapter is 84.
Chapter 84, selling a slave amongst the Bedouins. Athar 45. Amra said, Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, had made one of her slave girls, Mudabbar, arrange for her to be set free after her death.
I mean, Mudabbar, Dabbarat means that she set her free as soon as, she's free as soon as Aisha dies. Now.
Then Aisha became ill, and her nephews consulted a traveling doctor who said, you are asking me for information about a bewitched woman.
Consulting which doctor?
Traveling doctor.
No, it's not traveling doctor. Zot. We're going to explain that in a minute. Go ahead.
You are asking me for information about a bewitched woman. A slave girl of hers has bewitched her. Aisha was told this, and she asked the girl, have you put a spell on me? She replied, yes. Aisha asked, why? You will never be free. Then Aisha said to her nephews, sell her to the worst masters amongst the Arabs.
So here the chapter says, selling
the slave amongst the Bedouins.
The Bedouins. But the other one says, she says what? Sell her to what?
The Arabs.
To the worst.
Of the what?
Worst amongst the Arabs. So what does that mean? Bedouins. Okay, right, it means the Bedouins. Usually the Bedouins, because they are living far away from the cities. Why the cities far away from the cities? Because they'll be far away from the scholars, far away from socializing with the people, far away from education, far away from everything. And that is why you'll find them tough and rough, the way they talk. the way they deal. One of them looking at the Prophet ﷺ kissing Al-Hasan and Hussein, he said, "You kiss your children? I got 10, I don't kiss any." So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Verily, I don't have any cure for you if Allah Azza wa Jal had removed the mercy from your heart. I don't have any cure for you if Allah had removed the mercy away from your heart." So the Prophet ﷺ even, he told us not to live into the outside areas, which is like the isolated areas. It's not allowed unless the person, he needs to do so for certain reasons. In the times of tribulation, Prophet ﷺ, he said, "خَيْرُ مَالِ الرَّجُلِ الْمُسْلِمِ," the best of the money for a Muslim is غَنَمٌ يَتْبَعُهَا فِي شَعْفِ الْجِبَالِ. That is a group of, or a stock of sheep that he follows them in the mountain. يَفِرُّ بِدِينِهِ مِنَ الْفِتَنِ. He's fleeing away from the tribulation, because the fitan will comes into the cities or into the inhabited villages. So he comes out from those villages away. Why? Because of tribulation. Or the Prophet ﷺ, he spent the first 4 years of his life since birth in the Bedouin areas, and that's why Halima Sa'di, she took him far away from Mecca. There are reasons for that. Only for 4 years. Number one, usually they take him for 2 years. Number one, for a healthy environment. Number two, for the eloquent speaking Arabic, because those people who are away from the cities, their Arabic hasn't been polluted by the accents of the people coming from outside. And number three, to make the person who is what? Responsible of himself. When he is living on his own, he will have more reliance upon himself. That's for those reasons, yes. Now coming to the hadith, Amrah, he says, Aisha radiallahu anha wa ardaha, she had said to a slave, a girl slave, that she to be free as soon as she dies. And that is what we call dabbarat amatan laha. Now, it says here, fashtakat, she had felt this pain, a pain that comes to the person, and this is to show us that magic, no exemption from it. It will get you, if there's magic, whether you are a pious or whether you are even a prophet. Prophet ﷺ, he got the magic. Or the wife of the prophet, of course. So a person who is putting himself into an area where there's magic, or having a magical person, you have to seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the magic can get you, even if you are a pious person. You can't have more pious than the Prophet of Allah. But yet he was under the magic for 6 months. A long time. So this is Aisha radiallahu anha. She felt that there is something wrong. So her nephews had asked tabiban min az-zutti, a doctor from az-Zut. Zut is from the Sudanese or the Indians. Doctor. So when they told the doctor her case, he said, verily you are talking to me about a woman who's got the symptoms of a woman who is what? Under spell of magic. And it looks like that she's under the spell of the magic of her slave. She's done it for her. Saharatha amatul laha, that her slave, the girl, she had made the magic for her. Even that doctor said that. And even the nephews of Aisha told Aisha, she never acted upon what the doctor had said, because it could be what? Untrue. And you could be punishing somebody for no due right. So you're not allowed to go to somebody and tells you, okay, you are under magic, all right, and the magic is done by your aunt. And then you go and you shoot your aunt or something. That's what happens. It's not allowed, because these people, he's not a doctor, it looks like he's a soothsayer as well. Because the doctor, he said, yes, it's magic. Now I understand that. But how do you know it's the slave that she's done the magic? Unless he knows the slave girl, he does magic. So she straight away asked. She did not depend upon the doctor. She said, you are the one who has done it. She said, no. Have you read a spell upon me? She said, yes. And that is why we ask the people who recites upon the possessed people. You understand what I'm talking about? Incantation, ruqya, upon the possessed people and the people who have magic. They start talking to them. Come out! And he says, yes, I am such and such person. Where do you live? How old are you? And they start making a chat with him. And then say, who put you there? Yeah, it's the wife. And then he go divorce the wife because of somebody he's talking to him. He doesn't know what he looked like. You know, sometimes you talk to a person, you don't know if he's a liar or not. True or not? Face to face. How about you talking to somebody you can't see him? How can you have a trust to him? And this person go and divorce his wife because it's the jinn said to me that. SubhanAllah. So our Shaykh Al-Albaanee rahimahullah, he said these people who are asking the jinns under the effect of the Quran such things, they are making soothsaying. This is sorcery. You're not allowed to ask who's done this and who's done that. All you have to do is ukhruj aduwallah. He's an enemy of Allah, regardless of who he is. No, brother, is a jinn Salafi. You can't really say to him he's an enemy of Allah. And I'm saying this is true because I've heard a conversation between other, you know, I'm a jinn Salafi, mashallah. He's saying, I'm listening to the tape. I listened to the Shaykh Al-Albaanee's lectures, mashallah. And Shaykh, well, he mentioned some shuyukh. I'm not going to mention these shuyukh. But he mentioned, I've listened to such and Salafi, mashallah. So they said to him, okay, don't you know? And they started making him da'wah. Are you a prophet, brother? It's only for the prophet he knows. You're not a prophet. You haven't been sent to go and call the jinns. I mean, you've got enough mankind to call them to the haqq, to call something that he doesn't, you don't know who you're talking to. All you have to say to him, get out, enemy of Allah, regardless who he is. Whether this jinn is Muslim or non-Muslim, because he had made a transgression, ta'addi. As soon as he had possessed a body which does not belong to him, he is an enemy of Allah. Get out of enemy of Allah. Get out of enemy of Allah and just tell him, because this person, this jinn, he likes to have a chat. And once you have a chat, he takes you away from what? From the Quran. The Quran is hammering him. And hammering him. And then he pretends that, and then sometimes you read a person, he just throw something on top of you. Read upon me, I'm not really. When he says this, that means he's been affected. Keep reading. Well, keep reading, and you'll find that person, inshallah, with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, depending upon how long that person had this, you know, this magic. And how strong is this magic, and how weak is that. And how strong is that or weak that person who's a patient. Because if he's weak and he is vulnerable and he has no dua or supplication that he used to say in the morning and the evening to protect him, he's vulnerable. Can be easily been under the magic. So Aisha radiallahu anha, she had made sure that, okay, that this is the one. And also we find in this hadith that she took revenge, and it's entitled. That means when she says, are you the one? She said, yes, I am the one. Okay, she's entitled now to take what? Her revenge, Aisha. She said, okay, you will not get away from this. لا تنجين أبدا. Then sell her to the worst of the Arabs. And here Imam Al-Bukhari said, Arab, the Bedouins, the worst of the Arab masters. And because of, as I said, it shows the permissibility of punishing a person because it's done bad to you. Now, chapter 85, hadith 163.
Chapter 85, on forgiving the slave. Hadith 163. Abu Umama said, the Prophet ﷺ came with 2 slaves and gave one of them to Ali, Allah's blessings be upon him, and said,
Hang on. Okay, very sure. Can we have the brothers, if you have back problems, come forward, inshallah, come here. Jazakumullah khair, come forward, please. So the brothers, one of the boys at the back, come forward. Don't sit next to the pole. You're taking bad example from the adults. Get forward. Get forward, please. Get forward, please. No walls. No walls. Get forward. Never sit in front of our teachers with the walls. Yes. Now, pardoning the servant.
Abu Umama said, the Prophet ﷺ came with 2 slaves and gave one of them to Ali, Allah's blessings be upon him, and said, do not beat him. I have forbidden beating people who observe the prayer.
Allahu Akbar.
And I have seen him pray since he came to us. He gave Abu Dhar a slave and said, treat him well. So Abu Dhar set him free. He, the Prophet ﷺ, said, what has he done? Abu Dhar said, you commanded me to treat him well, so I set him free.
Right, so we get benefits out of this hadith, number of benefits. First of all, the chapter title is to pardon the slave or the servant. Abu Umama says that the Prophet ﷺ, he had 2 slaves with him, and he gave as a gift slave to Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu warda. So here, when he gave him to Ali, straight away he said to him, look after him, don't hit him. So it just shows us that the person should be all the time admonishing people to do the better. For verily have been prohibited to beat those who pray. So subhanallah, if the person who prays is being prohibited to be hit in this dunya because the prayer forbids you from evil, inna as-salata tanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkar. Verily the prayer prohibits you from doing evil and obscenity. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had lifted away this punishment for the person who pray in this dunya, then we hope for Allah's pardoning for that person who prays in the hereafter. Do you understand what I'm saying? If we know that Allah had banned the punishing of a person who prays in this dunya, then we hope for His generosity, the Lord Mighty, on the day of resurrection, to also lift and then we keep away the punishment from that person who pray. But of course here, unless he does a prescribed punishment. So if he, for example, fornicates, or if he, for example, he drinks alcohol, or he kills someone, there is no pardoning. We beat him. We set the prescribed punishment. So if he had drunk alcohol, so we will give him the punishment. If he's a free man, how many lashes? How many lashes for the person who drinks alcohol? It's a free man. 40, very good. If he's a slave? 20. Yes, so be a slave better. If a person commits fornication, he is not married, in Islam, what is his punishment? 100 lashes and exile, to be exiled as well. If he's a slave, 50. If a person who is free and is married, whether married before and divorced or married now at the same time, and he committed adultery, what is his punishment? If he's a slave, burn him? So 50 stones? Half stones? No, we lash him 50 times. Exactly the same as so adulterer and fornicator and slave, same punishment. Right, coming back. Except for the prescribed punishment, we don't beat him. So Prophet ﷺ, he's telling Ali ibn Abi Talib, he said, I have seen him praying since we have, منذ أقبلنا, since the time I brought him to you. So if you see the person praying once or twice, then you should say that he prays. But when the person doesn't like someone, and he's being asked about that person, and he saw that person praying 50 times, especially if it is the husband and the wife having a dispute. So he come to me, and the wife is ringing me, my husband, does he pray? She, well, I don't know what he does outside. Does he pray, sister? Well, I see him praying in the house, but I don't know what he do outside. Subhanallah, alladhi la ilaha illahu. So he prays in front of her, but she doesn't know because he's 24 hours outside. The 2 hours he comes, he prays. He prays then. Prophet ﷺ, he just saw him praise a couple of times. He said, since we came, we saw him pray. That's it. He said, he prays. But because the wife, she's got to want to make a dispute. Same thing with the husband against the wife. Same thing. I don't know. I've seen her praise in the morning when I wake her up. She doesn't want to wake up. But I'm outside the house. I don't know if she prays or not. She prays, brother. If you've seen her praying, that she prays. But because of that dispute in the heart, you don't want to confess. That's not right. So, I have seen him praying. And then he gave Abu Dharr a slave. And he said to him, look after him. So Abu Dharr, he set him free. Now we find the master, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's the master. He is keen to know what his ra'iyah, the people who's governing, the people who is profiting, what have they done? So he's asking, what did you do regarding that slave which I told you to look after him? He said, Messenger of Allah, you told me to look after him, I set him free. Subhanallah. He's all the time, Prophet ﷺ, keeping in touch with the companions. Amartani, to look after him, I have set him free. So here, the merciful, the Prophet ﷺ, the mercy to the people who are weak, because the slaves are weak. The mercy was well being shown by admonishing his companions to look after the slaves, especially the ones who pray. And we tell the people, please, if your children pray, one of them, now you have to treat him different from the child who does not pray. So the child who does, if you want to smack, don't smack the child who prays. Smack the child who doesn't pray. But the one who prays does not. You know, be tolerant. Just forgive him. Keep a closed eye. Because he prays. So the prayer is very important. And it is a sign of good. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. We find here the pardoning. This is to pardon the slave. So pardoning the slave because he prays. Pardoning the slave, he set him free. We find a hadith which had been mentioned that a man came to the Prophet ﷺ. He said, Messenger of Allah, how many times should we forgive and pardon the slave? Prophet ﷺ went quiet. So the man asked and asked again, how many times should we forgive and tolerate and pardon the slave? He said, 70 times a day. That means you're not going to be punishing him. 70 times a day. And this is authentic. 70 times a day. I don't think a slave, you know, would do 70 mistakes a day, because he'll sell him the following day straight away. You don't want him. You don't want a servant making 70 mistakes a day. But even that, you have to be pardoning him 70 times a day. 164.
Hadith 164.
What time is the prayer, please? 40? Not 45, 40, huh? Okay, right. We'll stop here, inshallah. We'll have the questions and answers, because we'll have to stop with the prayer. Oh, okay, just do the hadith. Just finish the chapter. Just do the hadith. Quickly.
Hadith 164. Anas said, the Prophet ﷺ came to Medina and he had no servant. Abu Talha took my hand and brought me to the Prophet ﷺ and said, Prophet of Allah, this is Anas, a clever, intelligent boy. Let him serve you. Anas said, I served him when he was at home and on journeys, from the time he came to Medina until he died, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He never said to me anything I had done, such as, why did you do this? Nor did he say to me about something I had not done, such as, why didn't you do such and such?
Right, so this is the pardoning that we're talking about for the servant and the slave. Now, Prophet ﷺ, when he came to the Medina, he didn't have any servant. Anas is not a slave, a servant. So Abu Talha, who is the husband of the mother of Anas, he's not the father. Father of Anas is a person, it's called Malik, and he died as a kafir. And he left Sulaym. And Sulaym was a mighty, very powerful woman, and she was as well the maternal aunt with fostering, or through fostering to the Prophet ﷺ. That's why the Prophet of Allah used to sleep in her house, because she had drank milk with his mother, so she became the sister of the mother of the Prophet ﷺ. So Abu Talha, who is his father-in-law, he brings him to the Prophet of Allah, and he said, verily Anas is ghulamun kayyis, he is a clever boy, and he was only 10 years old. He is clever boy, let him serve you. This is as well to show us the benefit of giving a servant, your child, to a scholar, because he will become a scholar later on. Just give him for a scholar. Beg the scholar to have that child be all the time with him. He'll learn, he'll come to you as a scholar. So he gave Anas radiallahu anh to be a servant. That's 24/7. You understand the word 24/7? All the time to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he said, I have served him, whether in the traveling, the journey, whether it is in the land, whether it is in the city, whether outside, since he came to Medina until he died. That's 10 years serving the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those 10 years, he said, he never said to me anything that which I've done. Why did you do it? Because you done a mistake, or something I should have done. Shouldn't you do that and that? So it's very important that we find that Anas radiallahu anhu ardah, that he was describing the character of the Prophet ﷺ. First of all, let's just drag some of the benefits here. Abu Talha, he said, Anas is clever, good. That's praising, isn't it? Are we allowed to praise a person? Yes, as long as we don't have any fitna. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, لا تعينوا الشيطان على أخيه. Don't help the shaitan against your brother. So if that person is going to be flattered, and he's going to think, oh yeah, more praise please. Huh? That person should not be praised. Because al-madhu al-dhibh, Prophet said, to praise someone is like you slaughtering him slowly. But the Prophet ﷺ, he had himself number of times he praised. For example, Ashaj ibn Abdul Qais, he came to the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Messenger of Allah, looked at him, because all the people from Wafd Bani Qais, all of them, they came to the Prophet of Allah except for him. He was sedate, prudent, and took his time. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Inna fika khaslatayn. Verily, there's two characteristics in you, Ya Ashaj, that Allah and His Messenger loves them. He said, what? Messenger of Allah? He said, Al-Hilm wal-Anah. Sedation, prudent, slow in thinking, slow in thinking. He thinks before he utters. He takes his time, forbearing. That's what it is. And he said, Messenger of Allah, is it something that I have gained them, or something they were from before? That means Allah had granted them to me. He said, no, Allah had granted them to you. They've been chipped into you. You came with them from the birth of your mother. The two characteristics. A person who's got calmness. And of course you could learn that calmness. إِنَّمَا الْحِلْمُ بِالتَّحَلُّمْ وَإِنَّمَا الْعِلْمُ بِالتَّعَلُّمْ. Even if you are ignorant, you could be a knowledgeable person. Even if you are a person who is edgy, you become quiet. You could train yourself. But there are things which Allah grants to the person. They come with him. Either he is losing his temper very fast, or a person who is calm. They come with him. But if he lives, this calm person, he lives in an environment all of the people are, a'udhu billah, shouting their head off, he will become like them, shouting his head off. And he will be away from what Allah has granted him. So he had praised him, and no problem, inshallah. Also, we gain from this hadith that we should not be blaming for little things, But if it comes to do with the religion issues, you should, because you're enjoining good and forbidding evil. So if you see him, for example, not praying, if you see him, for example, stealing, you see him, then you have to tell him off, or tell him what is good, the best for him. But little issues, if he, for example, he took the microphone, put it somewhere there. Brother, why do you put it too far away? You shouldn't be saying that. You grab the microphone, put it next to you, and that's it. So blaming the servant all the time like this, there's a bit of dust on my table, why don't you clean it? You don't be fussy, you just do like this and you do it away. And that servant of yours will love you and will help you. Otherwise he will start stealing from you if you're no good to him. Right, and this is the end of the chapter. Allah Ta'ala A'lam. And we have questions for 5 minutes. Sisters, yes. I've answered this before. Now, have any questions from the sisters? Yes, go ahead.
Someone has invited me to their wedding, but my mom did not allow me.
So if the person who's got his mother there and she did not allow him, he should not go whatsoever. You could really try to convince your mother, but if your mother or your father, whom you are their guardians, the father and the mother, they should tell not to go, you should not go. And you should explain to that person that I can't go because my mother did not let me go. But if you can go without mother knowing about it, because this is really an important invitation for a brother, for the sisters or the sisters together, it's a family issue. But the mother, she doesn't want to do because she wants to punish those people for something which is not really right. And if you can do it without her knowing, like I had a case, for example, a person, he said that me and my father and my sister, we're going to, pay a visit. My mother and the wife of the man, and we want to go to make Umrah. And the mother of my father, she told him not to pay a visit for his in-laws, the family of the wife. She has a problem, Hama. And what should she do now? So should the husband obey the mother of his, by not making a visit whatsoever. He's going all the way to Saudi Arabia to the people who are the in-laws of his, not to pay a visit to them. I said, well, he should not, but if he can do it, and he can guarantee 100% that those people are going to visit, they're not going to send a text message to his mother, by the way, he came to visit us, and then a problem would arise. True or not? So if he can do it, yes. If he can't, he should not really go and pay a visit. Now,
could you give the correct opinion regarding the saying the Quran is created?
we have discussed this in a total class, which we called it Usul al-Sunnah Imam Ahmad. We talked about that and the issue that the Quran is the words of Allah. You cannot be saying the created words of Allah. If it's created, then it's going to die, because anything created is going to be what? It's going to die. You're going to read Salat al-Janazah on it, and that's why Imam Ahmad said, let's read Janazah on the Quran, because it's going to die. Any created thing is going to die. And the words of Allah is part of Allah. So you can't say Allah is created His own words. So Allah, He created His own hands. Allah created His own self, His own essence. It doesn't work like this. So there's an amr, command from Allah, and there is creation. Allahu al-amr, Allahu al-khalq, wal-amr, that is the command and the creation for Allah. So there's creation and there is what? Command. And the words are from the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's part of His sifat, for His characteristics. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam, and attributes. Now,
what is the ruling regarding the people who say that they have no choice but to take riba for university?
What do you mean they don't have a choice? Sit down in the house. That's a choice, isn't it? Sit home, sit tight. So you have a choice. Nobody's pointing a gun to you except that you have to go to the university, otherwise we'll shoot you. Nobody's saying that. So you have a choice, but you have no choice because of that means social wise. I can't sit without a certificate. Keep away from the riba, brother. Keep away from the system, from the riba. Riba is haram, and there's no excuse for that. And Allah will fight you in your provision, will fight you in your happiness in your life. You'll find no happiness, no relaxation, no settlement whatsoever if you take riba. And definitely the government at the moment, they are taking a step towards those who are Muslims, and they could see that they are falling behind. They're not, they're abandoning the education. They have come up with something, by the way, recently, but still riba, by the way. Still riba. As a pot. I've been asked about it and I studied it. It's still riba. Same thing. But inshallah, if you keep the pressure, they have to come up with something. Keep the pressure, because they don't want the Muslims who are British to fall behind, and then they will become criminals. So they want education. So if you keep the pressure, you reject such a loan, then inshallah they will come up with a solution, bi'idhnillah, which is halal. Now,
Sheikh, listening to your talk in the women's section is very hard, because the youth girls talk from the beginning till the end. Please advise them.
Well, I do have the same problem with the boys here as well. So, because they see me, they're scared. But unfortunately, we tell the fathers, please, for God's sake, if you have a boy or have a girl, and they keep jumping up and down, keep them at home. Please. Very important. It's not just, I want to keep him in the masjid. Yeah, but you have to keep him in the masjid, keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on her. So the mother, if she's bringing the girl to jump up and down on top of the necks of the girls, on top of the backs, and make noise, you're not coming to a masjid. You're coming to a fun fair. Please, sister, fear Allah. Make sure that your daughters do not speak, because some of the students are coming for serious. Some of them, they don't want to come for serious. So if you're serious, please, 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 and I'm just begging those sisters to make sure that their daughters are not making noise. And I know the agony behind that question. Wallahi, I know. Okay, we're going to have no minutes whatsoever, because 40, so stop 40, and we'll get that done inshallah in the prayer.